Welcome to the Epcotian Adventure,
a podcast where we'll talk about all things Disney, but we're Epcot-centered.
including tips and tricks, festivals and favorites, and the very latest in our rankings and reviews.
But we're still old enough to remember when getting sushi in Japan seemed so exotic.
This is episode 51, the top 5 sit-down restaurants at Epcot.
Or, spoilers, if they serve snails, they're probably not on our list.
So now, please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast as we embark on our Epcotian adventure. Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 51 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And today's topic is going to be the top 5 sit-down restaurants at Epcot.
Well, our opinions.
Yes.
There might be some hot takes in here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this might be a little controversial because there's a lot of restaurants that a lot of seasoned Epcot or Epcotians probably on this list are going to go, really? Okay, tell me why.
We're going to tell you why. But we do want to start off by saying, before we dive into our opinions and our top 5 ranking, we each did our own, by the way, as we tend to do. So I don't know Rod's. Rod doesn't know mine. There will be some overlap, I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
But I do want to say, before we start that we're going to take you on a little culinary tour around Epcot so that you have some context for what we're picking. We're going to walk you through each of the restaurants that is available as a sit-down experience. So not walk-up, not counter.
Not carts.
Not festival foods, just based on what they are. So we're just going to give you an overview of what each of these restaurants is and then tell you our favorites.
I like it.
Now, some caveats. There are 4 of these restaurants that we have not experienced personally yet. So we have not included those in our rankings. We'll get to those as we go through. We'll tell you what those are. And there are 2 that were not even...
Yeah, it didn't even make the list because...
they're a little unique.
They're a little expensive.
So the 2 that we're not even really discussing are Monsieur Paul in France. In France.
You have to say it that way. It's in France.
This experience, both of the ones that we're going to discuss are pricey and they are long. So you have to dress up. You cannot go in your regular shorts and flip-flops that you would wear to Epcot. And they are roughly 3-hour experiences.
And no kids.
And no children. Well, the second one that we're going to talk about does...
It's like 8 and up.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a child's menu for 8 to 12. So back to France. So Monsieur Paul's is one of the newer experiences, and it begins at $195 per adult and goes up from there because you can add wine pairings, you can add on additional courses. It is a multi-course meal, and again, it's about a 3-hour experience. The other one is in Japan. It is brand new, and it is called Tsukubite. For adults, it's either $250 or $150, depending on if you're a carnivore or plant-based. And again, about a 3-hour experience. They do not allow in children below 8 years old. And it's a whole ordeal. It's a whole separate event. So these are more of an event than a meal. So we're not going to include those as options. And probably will not be experiencing them on our own.
I can't justify that amount. When it costs the same amount to spend the night somewhere as your dinner, that's a little pricey, yeah.
And that's per person, too, not per room. So,
If you do get a chance to eat at either of those, highly recommend you do and tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've experienced it, let us know.
We'd love to.
I'd love to do Tsukubite someday.
Well, let's talk about the sit-down restaurants then in, I almost said Future World again. It's still, if you're counting across all of the front of the park. So there's 1 in World Discovery and 2 in World Nature.
And so let's go ahead and start with World Discovery since it's over there on its own. And that is Space 220.
Space 220 is a highly themed restaurant. It's run by the Patina Group. It's one of those outside vendors that knows how to do it with Disney because they do a lot of Disney Springs, Downtown Disney, and also in-park restaurants for the Disney company. It is a highly themed restaurant in that you take an elevator or a Wonkavator? I don't know. What do they call it? A Space-avator. I don't know. 220 miles above Epcot to have your meal in outer space.
It's a great experience as far as atmosphere goes. So highly recommend it, even if it's just for that.
A lot of space food, a lot of space-themed food, but it is high-end food. It is price-fixed and is one of those, like we call Prixie Fixies, that it's yummy, but I don't know. We're going to talk more about these individually as we go, but it's not on my top list.
Let's just give an overview.
That's a
we're
good
not
point.
doing opinions
All right,
yet.
we're not going to give opinions yet. The lounge is a great option, though, for that restaurant.
Yeah, this one is unique because the lounge and the restaurant are right there together. You're in the same room. You wouldn't know if you're in one or the other. So go ahead and book the lounge, and then you can order a la carte. So moving over across the park to World Nature, let's start with Garden Grill.
The Garden Grill is a rotating restaurant. It's part of the Land Pavilion. It's an all-you-care-to-eat breakfast and dinner. I say that because they do offer lunch, but it's the same as the dinner menu, so pricing-wise, the same thing. It is character dining, so during breakfast, if you listen to our last episode, we talked about it a little bit because it is one of our favorites because it's got Mickey and the Fab Five and the Chipmunks dressed up in their farm outfits, and it's really fun. Pretty traditional fare. For breakfast, at dinner, it's almost a Thanksgiving type of a meal.
Because they're celebrating farming and harvest and that sort of feel. So it's very traditional food, nothing to be scared of, very much comfort food.
Yeah, also a price fixed because it's an all-you-care-to-eat.
And character meal.
Yes.
And then also in World Nature is Coral Reef.
Coral Reef is I want to call it an underwater experience, but it's
water adjacent.
Yes, it's part of the Seas with Nemo and Friends Pavilion. The entrance is on the very far right of the main entrance of the attraction and is one of the most unique places to eat in all of Walt Disney World in that you're eating in a room that is adjacent to the aquarium. You're actually looking into the aquarium as you're eating. It's
not like little portholes. It's like one whole wall is aquarium.
It is. And just about every seat has a view of the aquarium, which is fantastic.
It's all tiered so you can see. It's really a neat experience.
Yeah, mostly seafood, but they do have steak and chicken dishes as well.
They do. So now let's head into World Showcase where the bulk of these are going to be. And of course, as always, you start in Mexico. So we're just going to work our way around. So in Mexico, we're going to start with San Angel, which is inside the pavilion.
San Angel Inn. There, I said it. San Angel Inn is Angel. Angel is an inside restaurant in the attraction. It's in the Mexico Pavilion in the pyramid, and it sits adjacent to and overlooks the Grand Fiesta Tour attraction, much like if you've been to the Blue Bayou at Disneyland Park or to Captain Jack's at Disneyland Paris, and is a very unique environment for eating within Epcot. It's a Mexican restaurant, as it sounds, and is very upscale.
And outside the pavilion, just across the way, is Hacienda de San Angel.
A sister restaurant, and is also high-end Mexican food, but it also has fireworks views during the evening.
And going next door to Norway, we have Akershus.
Akershus is also an all-you-care-to-eat experience. It is also character dining for breakfast. In the afternoon, so their lunch and dinner menu, again, is the same, but it is Norwegian.
So if you're familiar with a smorgasbord,
yeah,
that's where you find it. If you've been to Solvang in California, you're going to have some similar experiences. Lingonberry and salmon and more salmon and lemon and dill. Lots of those sort of Norwegian flavors. So if that is your jam, this is your place. Moving next door to China, we have the 9 Dragons. Very topical since it was just Lunar New Year and we are now in the Year of the Dragon.
That's right. Hey, I hadn't even thought about that.
That's pretty cool.
Point. 9 Dragons is a typical Chinese restaurant. It is commonly referred to as the Panda Express of Epcot, but
now
the food
Panda
is
Express
upscale.
would be Lotus Blossom.
Well, no, that's true.
We'll say
that's
this
true.
is P.F. Chang's.
This is more like P.F. Chang's. Yes. It is more Americanized Chinese food, so if you're used to a Chinese palate, It's a little more bland, not quite as
Spicy.
spicy. I was going to say Chinese, but it is still Chinese food for the American palate. It is very, very good Chinese food.
It is. I'm suddenly curious why it's 9 dragons. I thought 8 was the lucky number in China.
That's a good question.
I'm
I bet
super
there's
curious now.
a story on their menu about that.
I bet there is, and
We'll
now
have
I
to look
want to
into
know.
that.
If we find one that we can post, we'll post it to social.
Or if you
not,
know,
then,
put it in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. And moving next door, let's go on to Germany. And here we're going to find the beer garden.
The beer garden is an Papa festival. It has live music, large family tables where you can join your family or people you don't even know if you're into that, and is a buffet-style restaurant with German food.
So sauerkraut, sausages, spatzel, pretzels,
Sauerbraten,
mustard.
Yeah. Oh, if you
Schnitzel.
love German food, this is the place for you.
We have some heritage in this area, and our mom and dad loved to go to the beer garden. This was their jam, and Mom's opportunity to talk to strangers. That was her thing. So this was one of their favorites. So shout out to Mom and Dad. We're going to move next door now to Italy. And here we have 2 of the restaurants. They're 2 sit-down restaurants. These are 2 that we have not experienced. So we will not be including these in our rankings. But both we have heard phenomenal things about. So we're going to give you a little overview of what they are so that you can make your own choices. And I have a feeling that when we do try them, they will make our list.
Oh, yeah. They're actually, both of them are on my list. Yeah.
Yeah. So first up is Tutto Italia.
Tutto Italia is in the place that used to be Alfredo's, which I have been to.
Yes, Alfredo's was amazing.
And is a traditional Italian restaurant. It does have outdoor covered seating, so kind of like an alfresco dining experience.
And then we also have Via Napoli.
Via Napoli is right around the corner, and this is the quintessential pizza restaurant. They have amazing pizzas.
We've heard.
When you walk in, we have seen a lot about this place. When you walk in, they have 3 large ovens with giant mouths that you put the pizzas into, so they're all volcano themed.
They're all named after volcanoes.
I don't even remember the other 2. This is highly regarded as the best pizza at Walt Disney World.
One of the reasons is they import all of their ingredients from Italy so that they can make it as authentic Italian as they can, except the water that they use. They do not use Florida water. They import it from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, oddly enough, the water in Pennsylvania is most akin to the water in Italy.
And that was done with extensive testing based on the minerals in the soil and the minerals in the air, and all that kind of stuff went into that. I don't know how they came up with that conclusion, but they import the water from Pennsylvania and the ingredients from Italy.
I love that.
Yeah. They're most known for their giant pizza that has the melon and prosciutto on it. Really would like to try that, but it's huge. So unless I bring an army, I don't know when we're going to get there.
If you want pizza by the slice, they do have a pizza window.
They do.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic when it's open.
Yes.
Going along to Japan, as we did say, we're going to skip to Kumite because it is the more event or special occasion restaurant. But other than that, they do have Teppanyaki.
Teppanyaki is a teppanyaki, or what would be referred to in a lot of places as a Benihana-style restaurant. It is a large grill surrounded by 10 to 12 seats, so you may be seated with other families. But if you're familiar with the Benihana style, where they do a show and cook your meal right in front of you, this is the place for you. We have been there many times and is highly, highly recommended, although it can take over 2 hours for your meal to be completed.
That is true. That is something to be aware of. And they also have shikisai. And another disclaimer, this is one that we have not been to. It is brand new. It just opened this past year in the fall, I believe.
Yeah, it took the location of what was called Tokyo Dining, which was their sushi restaurant. And they basically renovated the facility, redone the menu. It's not one we have been to yet, so
it will definitely make my list when we go there.
Oh, yes. We're definitely going to go as soon as possible to this one so we can give you a review.
One of the super cool things about it, they have windows inside that are themed to the time of year that you're there. And occasionally you will get to see fireworks projected in the window, which is pretty cool. But you can also experience a seasonally changing menu based on festivals that are happening in Japan. So you'll get the history behind that festival. You'll get dishes that are associated with it, flavors and things that go with that time of year. So I think it's such a great idea. I'm super excited to try that one, but because we haven't been there, it won't make our list today.
All 3 of the sit-down restaurants in Japan are on the 2nd floor above the Mitsukoshi department store.
Ooh, good to note. Well done. Going next door, we're going to go to Morocco. And here we have the Spice Road table. And again, this is one that we have, this is the 4th one, so this is the last one that we have not experienced yet. When it was a thing, I did get to go to Marrakesh, which was the large restaurant in the back, which is now like a seating location. But this is more of a... Well, Rod, tell us about it.
They have a lot of traditional Middle Eastern fare. They are famous for their hummus fries.
Lots of Mediterranean flavors.
Yes. It's not for the meat and potatoes person. There's not a lot here that is not that spice palette, I guess you could say. Since it's called Spice Road Table, that makes sense. But it is a covered outdoor location for seating. So if you want to get a fireworks package for any of the concerts or just for the fireworks in the evening, this is one of the better places to do it because it's usually easy to get reservations for and has fantastic views of the fireworks.
I also want to say that a lot of the food, if not all of the food, I need to take a better look at the menu when we actually get to go, but is small plates. So if it's something that you think you might enjoy, it would be a great way to try some new things with your friends and your family. So that's another thing just to keep in mind, that it is a small plate. It's not a huge commitment. You can try a bunch of things and have a great meal that way.
Very, very good point.
Moving next door, we are going to France. So again, we're skipping Monsieur Paul because it's more of a special event. But they do have 2 restaurants, Chef de France.
The Chefs de France, yes. That's the downstairs location, right at the waterline almost of the France Pavilion, and is traditional French fare. It is actually, again, one of those places that can take a little longer, but you want to spend time there because their menu is really, really good.
It does include snails.
It does include snails.
If you do want to try escargot, this is your chance.
Spoilers, we did say that if it had snails, it's probably not on our list. However, I have eaten here and really did enjoy it. I just didn't do the snails.
Fair enough. And their 2nd location opened up a little more recently and was part of the Remy expansion and is now La Crêperie de Paris.
La Crêperie de Paris is also a place that has an outdoor window, so you can get crepes outside. However, you can go inside and order crepes one at a time or as a set with a beverage.
Which includes champagne or cider.
Yeah, and they have breakfast crepes, they have seasonal crepes, they have savory crepes, and they have dessert crepes.
If you get the set, it will come with a savory one, which is in the buckwheat wrap. It will come with a sweet one, which comes in the traditional crepe. And then you'll also get the beverage, like Rod was saying. So it's a really good deal. It's actually not that expensive either. And it's a beautiful, calming atmosphere inside, but not at all Disney. So if you're looking for a Disney experience, this isn't it. You're kind of like in a subway station.
Feels like you're eating almost like at one of the resort hotels in a more... like at Coronado, where it's not as Disney-themed, which is very odd for the location.
It is
since it's next to Remy's.
Yes. Yeah. All right, we're going again on the move. Let's go to the UK Pavilion. United Kingdom. The UC. Yes. The UC. So here we have the sit-down restaurant is Rose and Crown.
Rose and Crown is part of the Rose and Crown facility, which includes the bar,
pub.
Pub. I'm sorry, it's the pub. The walk-up window for the fish and chips.
Yorkshire Fish Shop.
The sit-down restaurant. The sit-down restaurant has the fish and chips. It also has access to the pub as far as the drinks. They also do a mean shepherd's pie here. And they also do outdoor seating for the fireworks.
Yes. And don't sleep on the bangers and mash. If that's your thing, like it's really, really good. So go get it there. It's not hugely out of your realm as far as palate goes. It's all sort of familiar comfort food. If you're there on a hot day, it could be a little heavy.
It is heavy, yes.
But it's a fun place to be. And last time we went, our waiter was Scottish, and I just wanted him to read the menu to me. Like, it was just so much fun. So that's a good time. And then our very last move around the countries, we're going to Canada.
Canada. My Canada.
And now we have Le Cellier.
Le Cellier is downstairs. It's one of the harder ones to find. You walk into the gardens entrance, and Le Cellier is at the very bottom of the pavilion. Now, what that means
is... It's a beautiful walk to get back there.
It is. It's part of the, what would be Bouchard Gardens type of gardens that they have there. If you're familiar with the Canada Pavilion, it is tall. It's not huge, but it is really tall. Circle Vision sits at the back. Le Cellier sits at the front at the bottom level and is a steakhouse. Now, if you're used to the modern steakhouses where there's, people dancing around and blah, 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 I don't like the modern stuff. I love the old, my dad's steakhouse. Le Cellier is that. It's got dark woods and nice big stone columns, and it's chilly inside, and I absolutely love it. And one of the best fillets I've ever had there.
Yes, and don't forget to get the soup with the pretzel roll.
If you've been to the festivals,
Food and Wine Festival has it every year at the Canada Pavilion.
Yeah, and they do it out there with a little bit of their filet as another option, and you can get a taste of the cheddar soup. And if you've had it, the Le Cellier is for you, because it is the manly steakhouse.
And it's based on Le Cellier would be the cellar, so they've got an extensive wine list. It's sort of dark, and I don't want to say dank, that's the wrong word, but it's dark and chilly, like you were saying. Not overly chilled. I'm saying this wrong
because of all the stone.
Yes,
used
there's
in
lots
the architecture.
Of stone.
It feels
like you're dining in a wine cellar and an upscale experience.
Or if
exclusive.
You're used to the old steakhouses of the days. Out in California, we had the Black Angus, and it's that kind of older feel steakhouse that I just love.
And yet they redo the menu. They revamp it seasonally, and they have added recently a super interesting charcuterie board that I'm dying to try. And part of the experience is they bring out a beef fat candle. So you light the candle, it melts the beef fat, and you use it in place of butter on your bread. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm intrigued by the idea.
Well, as long as it's not a live cow that you're setting on fire. I think
that would be
okay.
bad.
They
frown on that.
Yes. PETA would have something to say about that.
So would I. Not okay, folks. Just so you know, we do not endorse lighting livestock on fire.
That is true, yes.
So let's get down to our list then. That is the general overview of every single sit-down restaurant at Epcot.
Yeah.
Have you already picked a favorite? I want to know what you think just from the descriptions. And we're going to give you our top 5, and we're going to tell you why we have chosen these places. Before I even dive in, I'm just going to say I don't think there's a wrong answer here.
No, they're all really good restaurants. I don't think there's one restaurant that I absolutely avoid at Epcot. We have our go-tos.
Yes.
And some of the ones even in the top 5 we probably haven't been to in a while, but they have memories for us, and we'll explain why they're in our top 5.
Yes. Exactly. So, Rod, do you want to start us off? What's your 5?
I will. Number 5 for me, and this is what I was saying was going to be maybe controversial for you Epcotians out there. My number 5 is Coral Reef.
Nice.
A lot of people that go to Epcot on a routine basis avoid this restaurant because they've had bad experiences, they've had bad menu choices. Since the closure, the menus at a lot of these places have not recovered, in that where they used to maybe have 10 entrees, they only have 5 now. However, I love Coral Reef. I love the atmosphere. I love being able to walk up and look at the fish while you're waiting for your food, or sit next to the window if you get lucky enough. To me, it's just one of the most Epcotian feeling restaurants because of its location. However, this is the first place I ever tried shrimp and grits, and I loved it. It was
so good.
So good.
And that one is still on their menu.
It is, and that's my go-to when we go there. I've also had their mahi-mahi that has that cilantro lime crema.
Oh my gosh, so good.
So yummy. Followed really only by Citricos, where we had the swordfish that time.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Wine sauce.
And the shrimp on top.
Yes. Oh, so good. But Coral Reef is my number 5. A lot of that is because of our history with Epcot, and it just has a lot of nostalgia factor for me. So that's why I just love the Coral Reef.
I love it.
What's your number 5?
My number 5, I have a feeling all of a sudden that we're going to have the same list in different orders.
It very well could be.
My number 5 is we're going to go over to Japan, and I'm going to say Teppanyaki.
Oh, know. Tepanito did not make my top 5. believe it or
I'm
not.
surprised because you spent your 50th birthday there.
I did, and I absolutely love that restaurant.
I love it. Now, the reason this one might be a little controversial is because it's not unique to Epcot. You can have a Teppan experience on a cruise ship. You can have it downtown. You can have it at most like city walk experiences. It's not unique at all. However, you know when you sit down at that huge grill and the guy walks up with the big hat and the knives, you're going to have a great dinner and you're going to have a really fun show.
And an egg or a shrimp is going to end up in that hat.
Or both.
Yeah, and there'll be a volcano made out of onions.
Yes, you know exactly what you're getting, and it's delicious. Freshly cooked meat and vegetables right in front of you. They make the fried rice right in front of you. It's an experience that just can't be beat. I'm sorry, wherever you are, it's worth spending a little extra time, I think.
Well, and it's Disneyfied in that they're cast members, which means that they're over-the-top service that you're used to at other restaurants. Double that, and that's the service you're going to get at Tepanito.
And not only is there an onion volcano, there's an onion Mickey Mouse. So,
That's
spoilers.
I forgot about that.
So that's why it made my list. Even though it's not unique to Epcot, you just know what you're going to get. You know it's going to be a fun time, and you're going to make some really fun memories with your family.
All right, well, my number 4 is the Rose and Crown.
Oh, okay.
And 3 words. Fish and chips.
Seriously.
I adore the walk-up fish and chips, and I love that you can go get it in a more sit-down atmosphere rather than doing a trash can table time out in the walkway. It also has fantastic fireworks views, and the fact that they have access to the pub, so you can do the fish and chips and the pub brews right there at our table.
You can get a Guinness with a correct pour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their shepherd's pie there is also to die for. It's really good. I would say it's on par with Raglan Road over at Disney Springs.
Yes, I would agree.
The one thing missing is the entertainment that Raglan Road has, but we're talking inside Epcot, smaller venues for these restaurants.
But the pro to that is that you can actually have a conversation while you're
Also,
eating dinner.
Very
which
true.
you cannot do at Raglan Road when the live entertainment is going. So kudos to Rose and Crown for that.
All right, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is directly across the lake, and I'm going to go to Hacienda de San Angel.
Nice.
This is the outdoor venue we were talking about. It is, again, nothing hugely special that's going to blow your socks off. It's just really, really good Mexican food. We had fantastic... Do not skip the queso. I'm going to tell you that right up front, and you're welcome.
Let me just jump in. My number 3 is La Hacienda de San Angel,
Oh,
too.
nice.
So, yeah, what Sue just said is exactly right. The chili relleno there is fantastic.
So good.
That's one of the better ones I've had.
We've had fajitas there. We've had so many, the nachos. Like, it's all like just regular Mexican food. It just feels elevated. It's so good.
Well, ingredients-wise, too, it feels more fresh Mex to me. And
yes.
that the ingredients are very quintessential Mexican in flavor, but very fresh in their feel.
Yes. Which I think traditionally it should be. Growing up in California, these flavors feel very familiar.
Yes.
It's a home thing, so that's part of it. I also love the venue. It's not indoor seating. If it's a super hot day, it's still going to be super hot, but you are in a building, or most of the seating is inside, and
it's covered.
Yes,
yeah,
so
the windows are open to the outside.
So you get a really nice breeze out there across the water. You have a great view. Oh my gosh, it's a really nice experience.
Here's a little known
fact.
fact.
It doesn't take a lot of time.
Yes, that's true. It is because it's Mexican food. The production time is very quick.
Yes, it's just assembling the same ingredients in different ways.
Exactly. Little known fact, if you go to the outdoor restaurant, the walk-up that has the tacos and the cervezas and all of the walk-up offerings, you can go inside this restaurant before they open in the afternoon.
There's a sign on the door that says it's extra seating, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, just if you're just trying to get away from the crowds, most people don't know that. So this is one of those little known secrets. A nice little place to hide from the crowds before that restaurant actually opens for the day with a taco and a beer.
Yeah, you do have to have something from the restaurant. It is considered extra seating. You can't just go in there and charge your phone or whatever. So do participate in the rules. But that's our little gift from us to you. You're welcome.
So what's your number 3?
So my number 3 is actually going to be Coral Reef.
Oh,
so,
good choice.
Again, controversial because a lot of people that we've heard or read reviews of have had not great experiences, not great choices, things just not being prepared the way they wanted. Totally understand that. That has just not been our experience. Every single time we've gone, it's been a fantastic service and fantastic meal in a setting that literally cannot be beat. Eating next to the giant aquarium it's like having this giant live screen TV, but it's all live.
Yeah, the one thing I wish you could do is walk up and say, I'll have that fish. Kind of like when you do the lobsters. No. I've actually had the steak here too, and it was really good. Now, steaks usually you wouldn't think of at a seafood restaurant, but like steaks even at Red Lobster are fantastic.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they do them on that usually like a wood grill like they do the fish.
Mm-hmm. They also have some really fun, more tropical beverages that you can get, adult beverages or mocktails. And this is a really good place. If you listen to our last episode, we were telling you the things that you can do with kids at Epcot. This is a great choice. Take a break in the afternoon in the heat of the day. Go in here for lunch or an early dinner and let them watch that aquarium while you're eating. They will be mesmerized, I promise. It's amazing.
All right, my number 2 is Le Cellier, down in Canada, down in the basement. We were just talking about it. Like I said, it's one of the best fillets I've ever had. Now, I can't say it's the best. I've been to Morton's and had their Wagyu, and yeah, I'm drooling on the dog right now. Sorry, Kaylee.
She doesn't mind.
Each room there is a different province, which is, again, a little known fact. But, I mean, we've already said so much about Le Cellier. I feel like this is almost like a no-brainer. The filet has a mushroom risotto. That is so stupid good.
It's
oh my gosh.
So good.
I've had their New York strip that comes with the garlic peppercorn butter sauce. Their cheddar cheese soup, of course. Pair that with the brown bread. Now, I don't know what the bread is, but there's something special about the bread service at Le Cellier. It's not like an Irish bread, but it is a nice, dark, brown bread, but it's perfect with the sauce.
Well, and the last time we went, there was a variety. There was a multigrain, there was the brown, there was like a French bread, and there was the pretzel rolls.
Yeah. Now,
any of those are good options, but I think you're right. The brown is the sleeper.
Goes with the peppercorn sauce, but the pretzel rolls go with the soup. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Le Cellier.
Hey!
And now I know that we have the top 2.
Yeah.
The same top 2.
I think we think.
But I also want to mention Le Cellier. Don't miss out on the desserts. I'm a huge maple fan. I love maple anything. And they always have something on the menu, whether it's a maple creme brulee or a maple cheesecake or...
Forgot about the maple creme brulee.
I know, right?
So good.
It does change occasionally, so keep an eye on what it is. But whatever it is, get it. It is... If you're a maple fan, I just happen to... That's my favorite flavor, so get it.
Well, I have a feeling our number 1's going to be the same thing.
It absolutely is, because neither one of us has mentioned it yet.
Our favorite restaurant, without a doubt, is San Angel Inn. Now, this is not La Hacienda de San Angel, but it's the inside restaurant we first talked about in the Mexico Pavilion. It has just fantastic food, fantastic service. The last couple times we've been, more than impressed with the entire staff. And that's since the closure. We've been a few times.
Yes, we have. Several times, actually.
Yeah, it's become kind of our go-to because, 1, it's in the air conditioning.
Yep.
2, it's very, very upscale, good Mexican food.
And authentic flavors. You're getting those deep, smoky flavors, the things that you don't always get. Like, it's not Tex-Mex. It's not California Mexican food. It feels very, very authentic, and you get those deep, rich flavors. I think it's amazing.
It reminds me of going to a good authentic Mexican food restaurant in California, though, that serves like Sonoran style and things like that, not Americanized.
Yeah, and they do have some different regional things like Sonora and Veracruz. You get some different areas.
Yeah. We had the ribeye tacos with the plantains last time. Mm-hmm. It was so good.
And again, don't miss out on the queso.
Oh, my heavens, yeah. The carne asada with the chipotle.
Smoked jalapeno pepper. Chipotle.
Chipotle?
Chipotle.
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 With the chipotle butter, it's really cooked perfectly. And the last time I had it, there was plenty to share between me and like 4 other people. So.
Very, very shareable, which gives you an opportunity to try more things too if you're someone who likes to share things. So that's a great opportunity. Again, you can't beat the atmosphere. You have the volcano that erupts occasionally. You have the giant pyramid or
the
ziggurat there.
And the people going by on the boats.
Which is
I
just
love.
brings back such good childhood memories of being at Blue Bayou and having pirates go by. You get that same sort of feeling of like you're behind the scenes, you know?
Yeah, or Captain Jack's at Disneyland Paris.
Yes.
Which we can't go there without stopping and eating.
No, you have to go to Jack's.
You have to.
But you're also in this beautiful Mexican fiesta. What's the word I'm looking? Marketplace.
Yeah.
So it's just a fun atmosphere. 2 cons I do want to mention, even though it made the top of both of our lists. We've heard some reviews that are negative, just like Coral Reef. People have had experiences contrary to what ours has been. We have always had a good experience here. And it's usually easy to get a reservation.
Yes.
Because people they think Mexican food, they're like, I can go to Taco Bell on my way back to the hotel. This is not that. Don't think that. I've made that mistake as well. When we first started going, I was like, why would we go to Mexico when we have Mexican food everywhere? Trust us, this is different. But I do want to mention 2 cons. First of all, it is very dark in there.
Yes.
So have your phone ready with your little flashlight or whatever, because you will not even be able to read the menu at some points.
Yeah, everything is candlelit all day long.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be after dark at a fiesta.
Exactly. So if theming wise, it fits perfectly, but it just logistically, it's a little hard to navigate if you're not prepared for it. And second, the tables are a little close together.
They're always too close. I don't understand. I mean, I do understand. It's a small area and they try to get as many tables in as possible.
Of course.
And they're limited seating and they want to get as many people in as possible.
And everyone wants to sit by the water.
Right.
So you kind of cram through, but...
Those are minor, I think, in relation to the food, though.
I absolutely agree. And the fact that it made the top of both of our lists, I think proves that point. That
I agree. It
is more than those 2 little flaws. But I do want to mention them because if you walk in and that's what you're faced with immediately, you think, did I make a mistake? You did not make a mistake. It's enjoyable.
And remember, you can get reservations for all of these sit-down restaurants on the My Disney Experience app. So usually at the 60-day mark ahead of your trip, you can make reservations ahead of time for any of these restaurants.
And we do recommend making advance reservations. You'll hear it referred to as an ADR. That's an advanced dining reservation. Take advantage of that 60-day window because a lot of these do fill up so much faster than you think possible. If you do miss out on that opportunity and you want to get into one of the harder to get into ones like Space 220 or Le Cellier, some of the harder ones to get into, you can use a service. We like to use Mouse Watcher. You pay $5 for a reservation. Most of them are $5. Some of them are different, but an average of about $5 per reservation. They'll look for you and notify you when one is available.
You still have to make the reservation when
Yes.
they notify you. They don't make the reservation for you. I always like to point that out.
Very important. You do have to jump on it right away because there's other people waiting. But that's the only way we were able to get into Space 220, and it was so magical. It was worth it. So that is our advice to you. Jump on those 60 days for sure.
Yeah, let us know what your top 5 is down in the comments. We'd love to know. Also, don't forget to review the restaurants on our reviews. So give us a review about our review and your review. I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Please tell us.
Before we go, we'd like to give a big thank you to our social media coordinator, Riley Piper, audio engineers Joey Humphrey and Paul Trett, logo designer Evan Piper, and our theme music composer Jason Patrick Rowan, whose music is licensed through Pond 5. And of course, thank you, Phoenician.
Thank you, Phoenicians. And don't forget to rate, review, like, and subscribe. It really does help other people find us. You can find us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. The Epcotian Adventure is a $1,000 brunch production and a proud gold member of D23.
Thank you for joining us today for episode 51 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And we'll see you in live.
Bye. do a happy birthday to Kristen. Should I do a happy birthday to Kristen? Hey, happy birthday to Kristen. I don't know where that's going to go. Happy birthday, Kristen, if you're listening. Hope you're having a good one.